for Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury's showdown next year. Arsenal player face Arsenal Wiki Torres hires team manager. Before we go into the main story, we need to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll give you what's around the world. All right, welcome back. In football, the management of Wiki Tourist Football Club has approved the appointment of Yakubu Yankari as the new team manager of the club. In a letter signed by the club secretary Abdullahi Ibrahim indicates that the appointment takes immediate effect. Until his appointment to the new position, Yankari was the assistant team manager of the club. Yankari has played for Wiki Tourist from 1993 to 2007 as was the longest serving captain of the club. The new team manager was also a member of the Tude Disu 1997 under-20 team that competed in the junior championship in Ghana. Moving on to our next story, still talking football, Super Eagles and Leicester City midfielder Wilfred Ndidi is among the 50 most valuable Premier League players according to the latest ranking by Transfer Market. The midfield enforcer, who is into his 5th season at Leicester City, is currently valued at 45 million euros, making him the most valuable Nigerian player in the English Premier League, and by extension, the second most valuable Nigerian player behind Napoli striker and compatriot Victor Osimhen at 50 million. The 23-year-old share the 45 million euro valuation with 5 other players, namely Dominic Calvert-Lewin of Everton, Turgay Ndombele of Tottenham Hotspur, and Chelsea's trio of Hakim Ziyech, Mason Mount, and Mateo Kovacic. Liverpool duo of Egyptian and Senegalese stars Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane rated well ahead of Ndidi as they were valued 120 million euros each, while Cote d'Ivoire Wilfred Zaha and Algeria's Riyad Mahrez were valued at 50 million and 48 million euros respectively. Moving on to our next story, FIFA has lodged a criminal complaint against former President Sepp Blatter over the finances of museum in Zurich, Switzerland. The complaint relates to the involvement of Blatter and other former officials in FIFA museum project. In the latest allegation of financial misappropriation against Blatter, who resigned from his post as president in 2015 amid a corruption scandal. The 4-year-old has always denied any wrongdoing. FIFA World Governing Body says Blatter previous administration cost them 500 million euros to renovate a building the organization doesn't own, while also locking itself into a long-term rental agreement on unfavorable terms. Given the massive costs associated with the museum as well as the general way of working of the previous FIFA management, a forensic audit was conducted in order to find out what really happened here, according to Alasdair Bell, FIFA's Deputy Secretary General. The audit revealed a wide range of suspicious circumstances and mismanagement, failures of some of which may be criminal in nature and need to be properly investigated by relevant authorities. The museum project began in 2013, 2 years before Blatter, who was FIFA's president for 17 years, announced his resignation. In response, Blatter's lawyer, Lawrence Eni, says FIFA accusations are baseless and vehemently repudiated Blatter who is serving a 6-year ban from all forms of football. Moving to our next story in basketball, the president of Nigerian Basketball Federation, Engineer Musa Kida, has absolved the NBBF of blame following the inability of the federation to stage the Nigerian Basketball Premier League for over 2 years now, which has left the players and coaches very frustrated. Kida, speaking in a chat with Brila.net, empathized with the league players, coaches, and other stakeholders in Nigerian basketball, for stress that the NBBF has been held down by legal entanglement of warring factions that took the NBBF to court with an injunction to stop the Premier Division of basketball in Nigeria from holding. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we continue on sports around the world. Welcome back. It's still sports around the world on Grand Sports Extra. Moving on to our next story in tennis, world number one Novak Djokovic has withdrawn from this month's ATP Players Council election, citing the governing body's new rule that will make it a conflict of interest because of his role in the Professional Tennis Player Association. The Serb set up the breakaway Professional Tennis Player Association on the eve of the US Open in September and resigned as head of Player Council. But last month, he confirmed that he had been nominated by his fellow professionals for the current election, which he accepted. However, the new ATP rules mean he had to withdraw. Djokovic repeated the assertion he made several times this year that the Professional Tennis Player Association wanted to coexist with the sports governing bodies, but the ball was now in their court. The PTPA has made it clear it does not intend to be combative. It is unclear how the ATP will view the association in future, said Djokovic. He added that the PTPA was still in formative stages, but he was still keen to advance it further the interests of all players, especially those in the lower ranks. The decision to form the Professional Tennis Player Association blindsided many players, with Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal voicing their opposition. Still talking tennis, the big three of Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, and Roger Federer, as well as Frances Tiafoe, all walked away with a gong of 2020 ATP awards. Djokovic, who won 4 titles this season, including the Australia Open, scooped the year-end #1 trophy as he finished top of the ranking for a record equaling 6th time. The 17-time Grand Slam winner also became the oldest end-of-the-year #1 at 33 years, 6 months, 16 days, overtaking Rafael Nadal 33 years, 5 months, and 23 days. Nadal received the Stefan Edberg Sportsmanship Award, which is voted for by the ATP players for a third straight year, as he was awarded for his fair play, professionalism, and integrity on and off the court. Vasek Potil from Canada was named Comeback Player of the Year as he started the year outside the top 100, but finished at number 61, finishing runner-up at the Open Stade de France in Montpellier and the Sofia Open. Spaniard Carlos Alcaraz walked away with the Newcomer of the Year gong as he closed the season at number 141 after starting the campaign at number 491, winning 3 ATP Challengers Tour events. America's Tiafoe received the Arthur Ashe Humanitarian Award for his work off the court during the pandemic hit 2020. The 2-year-old auctioned off signed memorabilia to raise money for coronavirus relief efforts. The fool was also vocal during protests in the United States following the killing of George Floyd, posting an inspirational video featuring Serena Williams, Naomi Osaka, James Blake, Gail Monfils, and others to raise awareness about social injustice. As for the double award winners, US Open champion Metkovic and Bruno Suarez were the year-ending #1 double team, while Jamie Murray and Neil Skupski won the fans' favorite award. Moving on to our next story in rugby, One in five rugby union players in England suffered concussion during the 2018-2019 season, according to the latest medical figures released by the Rugby Football Union. Several former players launched a legal case in December against Rugby Authority for alleged negligence in relation to dementia caused by playing. In 2018, 24% of players sustained at least one match concussion, in an increase from 16% in 2017-2018 season. The report analyzed 407 games and 763 players from 12 Premiership clubs for the 8th consecutive season. Concussion was the most commonly reported match injury. In total, 3 were 166 matches concussion and 38 training concussion. The frequency of concussion measured by number of incidents per 1,000 hours of playing time is the second highest it has ever been. The report said the medical staff were able to identify more head injuries in 2018-2019 following the introduction of real-time pitch-side video system in the Premiership, improving the detection of complex injuries to ensure safe removal of concussed players remain a priority, as in developing and evaluating strategies to reduce concussion. He said the Rugby Football Union and Premiership Rugby recommend seeking specialist neurological opinion following a second diagnosed concussion during a 12-month period. England World Cup winner Steve Thompson is among the players who have started a legal process against English and Wales rugby union authorities and World Rugby, saying the sport has left them with permanent brain damage. They have all been diagnosed with early signs of dementia, and says repeated blows to the head are to blame. Moving on to our next story, talking football, former Chelsea and West Ham striker Martin Goal says now is the best time for aspiring black coaches to find work because the world is changing. Since June, players in England have taken a knee before games in support of racial equality. Thousands of people also took part in the anti-racism marches in UK after the death of American George Floyd in May. There are 5 main managers in the top 4 English division for Cole hopes recent events are a turning point, and Cole, now working at West Ham Academy, believes players can also do more to help themselves. The more black coaches became well versed in what they want to do, the better you have to be ready for the opportunity, said Cole. Former Newcastle United and England striker Les Ferdinand is also sporting director at Championship club QPR, but he had to go back to basics and learn about other aspects of football. Cole, who scored 52 goals in 289 top-flight appearances, retired from playing in March 2018 following a spell at Indonesian club Persib Bandung. Owner have to diverse football clubs in boardroom among the coaching staff in the academy, said Cole. Let's take another short break, and when we come back, we'll round up on sports around the world. Welcome back. In football, Ghana came from behind to beat Burkina Faso 2-1 and win the WAFU B Under-20 Championship Trophy at the Charles de Gaulle in Porto Novo on Sunday. Set-piece specialist Precious Boa was the Black satellite hero as he set up a goal before firing the winner from a free kick to hand his country the title in the Benin capital. It was his second free kick goal of the tournament and also served as the total Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations Mauritania 2021 qualifiers. Despite the victory of the Ghanaian, Burkina Faso midfielder Botue swept all the individual awards as he was named the best player of the tournament and added the top scorer award for scoring 3 goals in the tournament. The two teams will represent WAFU B at the total Under-20 AFCON in Mauritania next February and hope to excel at the tournament that will witness some of the best under-20 sides in the continent. Moving on to our next story, Arsenal players face drastic pay cut if they are relegated from the Premier League, according to reports. Several players will be obliged to take 25% reduction if the unthinkable happens and the Gunners, who are 15th in the table, drop out of the top flight. Such clauses are common as smaller clubs who are expected to face a greater threat of relegations. But even Arsenal, who are one of the English top football Big Six, were hoping to mix the Champions League qualification this season, have preempted the financial chaos. The North London club annual wage bill is more than 150 million, with the likes of Mesut Ozil, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang among the highest paid players in England. It is unclear whether the 25% figure is a club-wide stance, but the numerous players are known to be on that percentage reduction in the event of relegation. The Gunners are 4 points above the relegation zone, having gained just 2 points from the last 7 games. Still talking football, Premier League giants Chelsea face battle to hang on to rising star Ike Ugbo after rejecting a £3 million offer for their emerging striker. Ugbo, 22, is impressing on loan in Belgium club Cercle Brugge, who he has scored 10 goals in 15 games. He has triggered a bid from Russia top-flight club Rostov, which has been turned down by Chelsea. But Ugbo's progression on loan is causing rivals to take notice of the Chelsea academy kid who has been with them since under-10 level. Ugbo won the FA Youth Cup under the then Chelsea under-18 coach Jody Morris, who is now the assistant to the first head coach Frank Lampard. He also represented England at youth level and is under contract at Chelsea until 2022 after extending his contract last season. Ugbo has been on loan to Barnsley, Scunthorpe, and in Holland with FC Roda, and is highly rated product of Chelsea Youth Academy. Is eager to follow in the footsteps of fellow academy graduate Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount, Rhys James by breaking into the first team at Stamford Bridge. That's how much we can take on sports around the world. I remain Austin Arome. Have a nice evening.